Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dinner is served. That's right. We're talking Season 1, Episode 7 of Hannibal, Sorbet, on Dish by Dish. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from someplace in Baltimore. Yet again, there's a lot of Baltimore in this show. This is Dish by Dish, the Hannibal Rewatch Project, a title that just trips off the tongue. I really should have thought about that, but I didn't. You know what I did think about is that if, lo and behold, I happen to be at the opera and I look across the room, the person that I want to see invade my space is the one and the only Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
Wait. Does that mean, Patrick?
Yes.
Are you my friend?
Yeah. I think like 4 years into this, I think we could technically call ourselves friends, even though we have never met in a physical realm.
So we're not just like colleagues?
No, we're not just colleagues.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Because, we probably both like cheese, right?
That's true. We have that in common. Yeah. You're right. I mean, we have podcasting and a lot of pop culture references, and we talk almost every single day, and cheese. Those are our main crossover points.
When you have cheese, you have everything. You know who else I bet likes cheese?
Oh, I can't imagine anyone else liking cheese. Here's the deal, though, Gina. Unlike before, we have an old friend coming over for dinner. That's right. You know him as the co-host of Travolta Cage with Nathan Rabin. He's the founder and editor-in-chief at The Spool. And, of course, he's a returning champion from Kill by Kill. The one, the only Clint Worthington. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm wearing my finest, very well-tailored person suit.
Your person suit or your human veil?
Yeah.
Both. I'm in mourning right now. I'm at a very androgynous funeral.
Only the best kind. Listen,
Yes.
I don't need to know what kind of junk you're rocking when someone's dead.
Yeah.
You don't have to come sexy. This isn't the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Clint, did you ever see that movie?
I believe I did.
A person shows up at that the first funeral dressed like she's about to have sex with that corpse.
It was the 80s.
It was not the 80s. It was the 2000s.
Oh, wait, what?
No, this is the remake.
The remake. I did not watch that one.
There are no sexy funerals in any of the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
With Freddie Rorschach, yeah.
It's that remake, that very brown and green remake.
Oh,
where
God.
they have a sexy funeral.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for having me on again, guys. But I do have to correct your pronunciation a little bit in the beginning, Patrick. It's actually pronounced Sorbet.
Oh,
and
it
so
is?
It's Sorbet.
Okay.
That's how Americans say it. So,
well,
Sorbet.
I forget because I'm so international.
No, indeed. It's the opposite of when Midwestern moms call it Target.
Oh, the great barometer of naming things.
Yes.
On a week where people blew up the earth because they wanted to announce they were having a boy.
Oh, God.
Oh, fuck. Listen, everyone, when I wanted to find out the sex of my kid, which really wasn't a big fucking deal, we gave birth to him. That's how we found out. He popped out after a lot of effort, and we're like, what did we get, Doc? And he's like, it's one of these. And we're like, yay!
But did you get that sweet engagement, though? Get those IG likes?
Oh, no, we did not get sweet IG engagement at all. Although I am hungering for people's baby pics because I'm not going to get to hold these babies. I live for the baby holding and I get zero baby holding. And I don't know when I'm going to get to hold the baby again. I know. And we're not making a new one here. We got all the baby we could handle.
One of the true tragedies of 2020, less baby holding.
It is, man. For me, I like them babies. You give me that baby. I want to hold that baby. I'm taking someone else's gig, but I'm a very good baby holder. When babies look at me and they see my face, they're like, oh, you're one of us. Like, you're useless and you're flabby. I love that. I want to be
What's your
next to you.
secret? What's your secret to a good baby
Well,
hold?
how are you doing? How'd you get so much hair on your head?
Who are your guys? Who are your baby holding guys?
Here's the thing. Like, can I swear when I'm around? Can I swear on here? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do you have a deal with Hims? Has Hims, are they sponsoring you right now? They're sponsoring everybody else, says the baby.
Yeah.
Baby's wearing me Pampers.
This is what is driving us up the charts in Australia. Gina, have I told you that we at one point were number 13 on the charts in Australia and have risen to number 6?
I have no idea.
I don't fucking understand how this works. It said new underneath this, as if we had never been allowed to be in Australia. Like they kept us off the island.
There was a quarantine period.
Yeah,
like when you bring
we don't
pets.
know. Like 4 years into this, maybe we should allow kill by kill here. But
We finally got our papers.
Oh, find these bloody Yanks. No, I'm not going to attempt it.
One Kangaroo Jack reference, and all of a sudden we're leaping and bounding up the charts there.
Well.
Oh, boy. So what do we do on this podcast again? Oh, that's right. We talk about Hannibal, and we've reached the palate cleanser stage. We're sort of halfway through the season. We've had our big Silence of the Lambs episode, but now it's time to really get into who is the Chesapeake Ripper and how can we catch them. And turns out no one's very good at catching the Chesapeake Ripper. He's just very good at staying hidden despite how flashy he is.
Yeah. I mean, except for this episode when we get our least flashy potential, I say, Chesapeake Ripper victim.
Yeah.
Where it's just some dude in a bathtub in a hotel room with no kidney.
No, but the tile work in there is chef kiss.
Top notch.
Top notch bathroom tile. That's what I tune in to this show to watch. So here's the thing. In the last Dish by Dish, we kind of talked about what Hannibal is as a villain. And I think this episode is all about exploring how this Hannibal will be different than any other interpretation that you've seen before. Because right up front, Hannibal is about pageantry, and it's about showing off. It's about visual panache. It's putting on a show. Real villains and real life are schnubs. They're just fucking nobodies. They're a-holes. Let's take a real life villain that we sadly all know and all have to put up with. And we all have to learn that he understood that there was a deadly virus that would kill a whole bunch of people in fucking February, and no one would say anything about it because they had a book coming out in September. So that asshole is like simple, brutal, driven by petty needs, and is only really checked by his own stupidity and the vapid indifference of anyone who could actually do anything about him. Whereas Hannibal is not that. Hannibal is a caring, loving individual who just happens to eat people on the side. It's not his main gig.
Yeah, it's kind of an aesthetic experiment for him. Like he's just, it's like when you go through a fancy new cookbook just to try it. He's just like he loves the accomplishment of the task. He loves the beauty of a wonderfully grim image, grimmage, if you will.
Yeah, and he doesn't need it. He does it because it feels good.
Yeah, it's all about the love of the game. He's got like a love of the game kind of situation going on, which makes the hotel room bathtub ring false to Will.
Yes.
When everyone else wants to pin it on the Chesapeake Ripper, who like thinks it was just like an interrupted thing. Whereas like the kidney's gone, the heart is still intact, albeit a bit distressed and mangled a little bit. But
someone reached in there and gave it a nice squeezy.
A little tenderizing.
I'm just picturing like somebody like squeezing a heart. And do you remember those little rubber toys when we were kids and you squeeze it and like the little eyes pop out. I kind of like pictured like a heart making like a little sound.
Yeah. We also learn a lot more about Hannibal because he gets his own flashback, and we find out about a medical examiner who was once very rude to him. And again, going by Yelp rules, you can't give him a 1 star. You have to like cut his gas line, or you have to puncture his gas tank. Hope he doesn't check it before he leaves, and then just tail him until he runs out of gas, and then murder him.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a plan, and it really works out for him. Because, like, what if he ran out of gas in, like, a neighborhood that was populated?
Yeah. He had to really plan that out. But I do appreciate that Hannibal lives by, like, jigsaw rules, where, like, the things that he has to, like, cruelly punish someone for aren't, like, major crimes, but just, like, perceived societal ills, like lack of manners.
Sure. Well, it again, not to make another Nightmare on Elm Street reference, but have you heard our show? Feel Good Freddy was a syndrome we found for a real long time, where Freddy would try to exorcise your demons, like, oh, you went through drugs? What if I give you like drugs with like tiny swimming skulls in it? Or you're sad about your wheelchair? What if your wheelchair has spikes on it? And he's trying to like make you feel better by confronting your demons, and then but the byproduct is oopsie doodle, you died.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all I have to say about that.
So we run into Hannibal doing what we all want to do right now, which is going to a crowded
watching
space, watching Tenet, and crying to ourselves.
Yes. This isn't one of his best. Why did I risk this?
I don't get it. Why won't they let Elizabeth Debicki be tall?
John David Washington's character name is the protagonist.
What does it mean? He's catching bullets. I can't tell if it's going backwards or forwards, or I'm going backwards or forwards.
Why does Robert Pattinson look exactly like Christopher Nolan?
But he sits down. Christopher Nolan never sits down. We all know this. Passes the popcorn. I'm going to take down my mask and breathe heavily.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Don't go to movie theaters right now. Speaking as a film critic,
not.
Don't go to movie theaters right now. Even if we like have to do reviews of Tenet, like always preface it with like, don't go to a movie theater. Like wait for it to come out later.
There's just no.
There's no reason.
There's plenty of things that I want to see. But if I can't make it to a drive-in, and in a lot of places there are no drive-ins left, but here there's at least a couple. I can at least go to a drive-in, but don't put yourself in an enclosed fucking space, y'all. Don't do it.
Yeah. It's not worth it. It's not even one of his best, apparently.
You're not.
Instead, you can watch quality television like Hannibal.
That's right. Hannibal is available to you. It's on Netflix right now. And here we get to see the inside of a person's throat while they're singing. That's great. And then we get to see the inside of Hannibal's ear, because he is a feeling creature. He is not like, I think one of the things that has always been put on Hannibal is like, oh, he's got this incredible power of smell, and he can smell all this shit. And it's always been like this, oh, maybe his senses are too attuned to everything, and that's why he's crazy. It's just like, we don't know why he's crazy. But that crazy doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't like love things. And turns out he loves the opera. He loves talking to the female lead of fuck. See, I was gonna make a reference and it all jumped out of my
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
And of course, this we get a little bit more insight into Hannibal's psychology, courtesy of one Dame Gillian Anderson, who makes her first appearance here and is just fucking
like a
gorgeous.
Fucking Hitchcock blonde,
just
out of nowhere.
That hair, that beautiful hair, and she's just so effortless. Like, she's so good in this show.
I know we're not supposed to be horny on Maine, but holy shit, like, there's a lot of handsome in this show. We're not at a lack of handsome. There's some hot dudes up in this piece.
Yes. As a bisexual person, Hannibal makes me very pleased all around.
Oh yeah, it's to say, even if the show itself was boring, there's just so much eye candy to go around.
Yes. And it's oh my God. She just looks like $1,000,000 and she's barely speaking out loud. Oh my God.
And that Dan Fogler, Hunkosaurus.
See, I'm sorry.
You leave poor awkward Franklin alone. I felt Franklin in my soul.
Franklin with a Y, though. Let's
okay,
be real.
That's unforgivable.
His name is Franklin Freudovo. No one gets named that if they expect to be anything in this world.
No.
Yeah. And his partner, friend, was it Tobias Bunch or something
Budge.
like that? Budge. These Charles Dickens names.
Yeah. And then, of course, Gillian Anderson is Dr. Bedelia du Maurier.
Yeah.
And as you can't say it without holding a pen and like puffing on it like a long cigarette. That's what I'm doing right now. I have a Sharpie in my hand and Dr. Bedelia du Maurier.
We just need to meet one side character who's named Jimmy.
I was going to say, hi, this is John Smith.
I'm Ralph, my friend, though.
I guess we got
Ralph.
a Jack. But still, like...
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's just... So, Hannibal, I feel like we're getting this much fuller picture of him as a person who... His therapy is active. And the last episode is kind of like pushing Jack Crawford to experience sort of stages of loss and come out the other side still a functioning human being. Like, he takes the oath of his sort of psychiatric office pretty seriously. It's just that the way he goes about it is he kind of sometimes takes advantage of other active serial killers to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, he does have a sense of strong psychological ethics, I suppose, with like trying to maintain boundaries with Franklin. But you can also tell that it's because he finds him personally distasteful. Mm-hmm. Because he breaks boundaries all the time with Will, even though he's not officially a patient.
Yes.
But yeah, and like you can tell like in the conversations, especially when like Franklin effectively stalks him to his office and stalks him at the opera too. Like there is a non-zero chance that like he didn't just happen to go to the opera. He went in to bump into Hannibal because he's obsessed with Hannibal and is glommed onto him because he has this sort of like complex about touching greatness. As evidenced by his more intense mourning of Michael Jackson, which that aged well. But but you can tell like if Dan Fogler was like a hottie on top of everyone, like on a part with everyone else in the Hannibal cast, we would not be having these conversations.
No. He has to be tragic on sight, and I think that's Fogler's brand, as it were.
Kind of. He's really good at playing like shitty schlubs.
Yeah, everybody needs a niche, I mean.
Yeah.
Very true.
And he scratches that niche.
And he's trying on a full beard to make him seem like an adult. That's an interesting look for him.
It's a real Goldberg's guest star kind of facial situation he's got going on.
Yeah, you know what? Everyone's got to make their checks. That mortgage ain't going to pay itself. So
if they weren't interested in like gender swapping Freddie Lounds, he would have made a great Freddie Lounds.
Yes.
If they were like sticking to like the original conception of the character, like he would have been that like down on his luck schlub.
Yes. I still don't think the Freddie, regardless of who is playing the Freddie, the concept of how Freddie works in this universe is the thing I have the most trouble with. It just never quite rings true. So I think that's an interesting thought experiment. If you swapped those two performers, would it work any better for me? And I think my answer is still no. It's one of those things if they have a plan for it, and they could, and I simply don't remember it, which is fine because I'm going into this and having not seen it for a good long while. It's not coming across. And there's so much good that this is like a blip on the radar, but I don't get fucking Freddie Lounds. I don't get her kitten in a ski lodge looks.
What's with the gloves? Take the gloves off.
Take the gloves off. What are you, the fucking head?
Freddie Lounge, sponsored by the North Face.
Oh my God, like I just got off the slopes and all I need is a hot tea and a shot of vodka.
Maybe that's how she funds. Saddle Crime is just her side job. She like normally does catalog spreads for LL Bean.
That's right. Her, how to look at the lodge after a long day on the slopes look.
Yeah.
So we have this parallel thing where everyone really is up on. All right, the Chesapeake Ripper has not struck, and we're being told that maybe the Ripper is actually Abel Gideon, but that doesn't seem like half the cast is pretty much concluded like that's some bullshit. Like that's just Chilton trying to pop off. Mm-hmm. It's a completely false narrative. But they've poked the Ripper, and the Ripper has a pattern that they follow, where they take 3 victims and then they disappear off into the night. And we're told at the opera that Hannibal has not had one of his fantabulous dinner parties in a couple of years, and he's just waiting for inspiration to strike. Mm-hmm. And that inspiration is this schlubby dude who's yapping at him constantly about cheese.
To be fair, who doesn't love cheese?
Cheese is awesome.
Cheese is great. Apologies to our lactose intolerant listeners.
I feel for you. I understand you. There's nothing wrong with you.
But also lactate exists. You'll be fine. But I like the way he puts it. I discovered that we are cheese folk.
It's not going to get that person in bed. And
no.
So, neither is talking about predicting the future with cheese, which are they making that
I don't know. It really depends on how they sell it. Like, my ears are open.
I mean, how much cheese do you have to eat to really make it happen? There was one time where we were in Italy, and we had heard about this steak place that was like famous with locals. Like, if you're gonna have a steak, you're gonna go to this place, and they bring out this giant slab of beef, and you're like, oh my God, there's no way I can finish this. I can't believe we ordered 2 steaks. Like, this is all we need to eat. And the guy who owned the restaurant was also the server. He's like, believe me, you gotta have the cheese. And we're like, okay, we're going to have the cheese. Thinking he's going to bring us a small thing of cheese. And he brought us individual wheels of cheese. And I didn't know what to do. I had never seen that much food served to an individual before. And it's hard to conceal a wheel of cheese. You can't drop it on the floor for a dog to eat.
You can't tuck it under your napkin.
You can't concealed carry a wheel of cheese. No.
Yeah, you can wait for the door to open and try to roll it outside. Like, someone's going to notice that.
Yeah, exactly. Or just make a penny farthing out of one small wheel of cheese and one large wheel of cheese.
I basically went to escape from Alcatraz rules and started crumbling it in my pocket. And then when I went outside to play baseball, I would drop it through my pants at home plate.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
Works every time.
Right. But yeah, going back to our killer though,
there's a killer.
There's a killer somehow.
Cheese cast. This is a podcast about cheese, Clint.
Oh, sorry.
Together.
I missed when the dimensions hopped. Yeah.
Yes. Abruptly changed to a cheese-based podcast.
Always rebranded. Always keeping me on your toes. I like it. But yeah, no, so there is this this organ harvester, or maybe a serial killer masquerading as an organ harvester, who is was taking organs, and this is sort of what they're looking for, and so they quickly dismiss the Chesapeake Ripper. Well, also because around the same time, that's when Lecter kills the medical examiner. Yeah. And so comparing the 2 bodies, Will knows that oh, this is the Ripper, this is not the Ripper. There's a sense of theatricality here, and there is not over here. And so, yeah, so we're seeing that, but also also was seeing Lecter prepare for this meal, which is a great scene. I love the sort of in fridge shot. Like it felt like a gross episode of Good Eats. We're looking at Mads Mikkelsen's face, like looking around. I was hoping he would like start talking to us about cheese, and like puppets would come out, start talking to us. But yeah, and while the opera's playing, I don't know, because again, like this is a big feast. We've talked about food on this show before, obviously, and food is a big part of Hannibal. But this feels like the magnum opus of the show so far, where there's this huge production that he's been leading up to.
But in order to put on this sort of feast, as you say, which at one point he says, the feast is life. You put the feast in your belly and you live. Another killer line from this fucking show, which cannot stop delivering killer lines. Oh, yeah. But in order to put it on, he's got to kill some people, which means he has to reference his bespoke philofacts of people who have been rude. And I mean, this philofacts is about...
It's his little burn book.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then, but he can't be caught because when he kills somebody, he takes the little card out and is like, ha ha ha. And then he ends up killing that person and he doesn't need that card again. So it's in the wind.
Have we talked about Hannibal's sick calligraphy skills yet?
Oh my God, these recipe cards.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
She's so beautiful.
Really, honestly.
But also the calligraphy's so like curvaceous and intricate that I'm like, I don't know if I would like trust that I could super read it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, give me some like block print on that stuff. You know, I want my instructions to be clear.
Very clear. Like it does feel like if he's referencing this, he probably needs readers.
Yeah,
there's just no fucking way that a man of his age, no matter how well fit he is, like your eyes start to go, and that sort of writing is very hard to see.
Yeah, indeed.
It's fine if you're writing a missive to Abraham Lincoln, you know, before the start of the Civil War.
It's Ken Burns' Hannibal.
Yeah. Yeah. Dearest Hannibal.
That human leg was very delicious. The winters are very cold, and I had to lose my arm. I have mailed it to you so you can turn it into a delicious dish. My thoughts are always with you.
Please make a lovely sandwich out of it.
It was interesting when I was looking through the credits for this episode, because obviously the script was co-written by Brian Fuller, but also Jesse Alexander of Succession fame.
Oh.
Which I think maybe plays into Franklin's deal.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
Which, you know, I think there's a certain dry humor. There's a dry humor in the whole show.
Yeah.
But I think this episode's a little bit funnier than, like, the other ones. I don't know.
Well, it has a jauntier attitude because it's really more of a... all of a sudden, the FBI stuff kind of gets pushed off a little, and it's more about, like, spending the week with H as he bounds about town, you know, shopping, and by shopping, killing people.
Yeah.
For this, you know, giant buffet that he's going to put on for everyone. And when we do get to that shot of rolling down the table, you're like, I would clap too. Like, that's a fucking display he's been putting on. Mm-hmm. Like, and he's got servers there. Like, he's paid for fucking caterers to show up and, like, be, like, his sous vide person for this whole deal.
Right. It's so great. And, I mean, it's, you know, wonderfully directed. The episode director was James Foley, the guy who directed Glengarry Glen Ross. Yay! And the 50 Shades of Grey sequels. Boo!
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, I guess so.
Again, that mortgage is not going to pay for itself.
No, he's very much a journeyman director. But yeah, no, it's always fun to sort of see like who's writing and directing these things, especially because the style of the show is sort of one of its great hallmarks.
Yes, so many people were able to fit into it when it was such a leap forward in terms of that visual storytelling style that it's trying to do. Yeah. A lot of people now fit into that sort of gig. Like we're watching You right now very slowly, but you can tell like the people who are making You, like they picked up a box set of Hannibal. Like
I will refuse to pick up the "who's on first" wordplay that is happening. There's so much time in my day, man. Don't bait me like this.
Yeah, but we already spent 5 minutes in the last episode on my great I can't remember the name of the snake movie adventure.
Yeah, and an extended riff on Queer Eye for Serial Killers.
Listen, if I don't have a joke, I will spend 5 minutes searching for it so that everyone can suffer like my brain is suffering.
Indeed. But also I think we should talk about the climax of the episode where they finally catch the organ harvester, where it's just sort of like basic detective work, but it's kind of fun. I appreciate that Hannibal goes along and he says this is very educational when he sees how them doing their thing, and I think he believes it. I think he means that. I think he's just like, oh, this is a fun little ride along.
I think he's open to new experiences because now he's seeing an investigation from the inside as an active participant. So it's just like anything. He is open to learning and sucking up all of that experience and using it in some way, shape, or form. And we also hear him, talk about why he stopped being an ER surgeon, because too many people died. So I decided to heal their minds instead of their bodies. And it's just, I wonder how much of that is true and how much of it isn't, or it's just a story he tells himself.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there is an element to which he's telling stories to himself, because also this is when he's talking to Gillian Anderson, right?
No, this is in his kitchen while he's preparing the feast, and Will is there. He's brought wine, but he won't stay for dinner.
That's right. I think paradoxically, he's more willing to be closed off to Gillian Anderson because he sees that sort of competition. He sees that sort of threat of having a therapist who might understand him too well.
Yeah.
But I think with Will, I think there is sort of a sense of honesty. He always says, "Tell me, Will," and I think he tells Will just the same. I don't know. I think there's an element of truth to it where he believes that he is fixing people's minds. And neglecting their bodies, except when it comes to killing them. I think there's like a half-truth element to that admission.
It's like he's a locksmith who learns how to pick locks, and he performs a service, but he also breaks into homes. Like there's dual purposes to what he's doing.
Yeah.
In order to understand people, he unlocks their minds and then occasionally eats them.
Yeah, right.
I mean, whomst among us?
That's
right.
Very true.
But I did enjoy the sort of mini scenario of like catching the organ harvester mid-victim, and is like, okay, well, I can't put my hands up because one of them's in a guy right now. And then I felt bad for the real victim here was Hannibal's suit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
To get it all covered in blood and stick his hand inside somebody.
Yeah, he's gonna have to go to Patrick Bateman's dry cleaners to get that mess out.
Have to return some videotapes first.
But he does he gets in that ambulance pretty fast, but also takes off his jacket. Like, listen, I can get new pants, but I don't have to get a whole new outfit here. Yeah, and then just reaches in there, but he. The scenario of like him reaching in and trying to close off whatever open veins and vessels that he's doing there. Right. And then Jack Crawford's got a shotgun and Hannibal's basically in the way. It seems like a very dangerous situation.
Isn't it this episode where the medical examiner describes organ harvesting as like USB cables?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so they talk about the USB cables, and I'll never forget that. The way they like keep the valves intact and stuff so they can like plug it in. And
yeah.
Will begrudgingly has to use the phrase USB cables when he's like following up with questions.
Yeah. All the tangents of that medical examiner crew are just
they're so great.
Gold. Just gold.
Well, the big question is the metaphor falls apart because what is it? Is it a mini USB? Is it USB-C? Is it USB 1.0?
Yeah, these days it's a whole new world.
Every year there's a new port.
Listen, I understand you have a lot of bisexual energy, Clint, but you don't have to bring all of the talk here.
Look, the Dune trailer came out today. I'm especially riled up.
Yeah, there's a lot of ports up.
I watched the
noses.
Dune trailer and 2 episodes of Hannibal. How horny can you be?
Totes
Right.
horns to the max. We don't really see how people fucking die here. There's only one choice, and that's to get knocked off in the bathroom after you wake up after an organ has been stolen.
Well, no, there's the guy who gets is the guy gets cut in half in the school bus?
Oh, that's true. Okay,
Yeah.
so we can do it. So the choices are get cut in half, lose some organs, and get propped up in a school bus, or wake up, find your one organ down from where you started earlier in the evening, and then end up in a fist fight in which your ribs are cracked open so that someone can get in and massage your heart for a little while. And so, Clint, as our guest, I'm turning to you for your answer first.
I don't know. I've been so tense for like several months now that I think I could use a good massage, even if it's internally. So I think I'll take the latter option.
It's a very sumptuous bathroom, so you're going out on top.
Yeah, exactly.
Gina, what say you?
I so often make a joke about like having to go somewhere like unfamiliar and you being convinced I'll wake up the next morning in a bathtub full of ice missing a kidney. So I mean I did that when I went to look at a new apartment. Every time I'm like, well, yeah, I'm probably going to end up knocked out and have a kidney stolen from me. It's yet to happen. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it will happen. So I might as well just go ahead and jump the gun and have it happen here.
Okay. I mean, it's going to happen either way. Your kidneys are going. It's just really how you end up at the end.
Yeah, they're in good shape.
Yeah. So are you going school bus or bathroom?
Bathroom.
Yeah, I'm going bathroom just because that's a hell of a bathroom. That tile work is exquisite. I love the competing sort of patterns that are working with that green and black. It's really sumptuous.
And also, honestly, do any of us want to go back to the days of sitting in a school bus?
No.
No, I don't care that I get to have 2 different seats. It's gross.
I don't even want to sit on a regular bus.
Nevertheless, sit on a bus where you're not allowed to, where half of you isn't allowed to sit anymore because your ass is on a different bench.
Yeah, exactly.
So that just about does it. Clint, where can people find you on these here internets?
You can find me on internets at twitter.com/Clint Worthing. You can also find my work at The Spool, which is the site that I've run for the last 2 years. Gina is my lovely second in command there. You can also find my work at consequenceofsound.net and as the co-host of the podcast Effin' Birds Presents Travolta Cage, where we go chronologically through John Travolta and Nick Cage's careers in tandem. So each episode is one Travolta, one Cage movie. Eventually, one day, a million years down the line, we will make it through the entirety of their careers. And you can also find other headlines of mine at Vulture, Takeout, StarTrek.com, Nerdist, and a bunch of other places.
Do it today. Gina, where can people find you there?
I write for The Spool, as Clint mentioned. You can also find me on Twitter under Porcelain72.
Do it today, people. Check it out. You can find us on Twitter at KillByKillPod. Rate and review us on iTunes. It helps us be seen and heard by more people, and you'll launch us up the charts in Australia and Belgium. Belgium loves us. That's the other place we're doing really well. And that just about does it. Next time, come back for more. Dine out with us, please. The dinner menu will continue. Eventually, I'll figure out a catchphrase. For myself, for Gina, and for Clint. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Farewell.